Yes, my name is Alejandro Campero Liart. I am 20 years old. I'm from Bolivia, and I've been living here in the United States for almost 8 years now. I was 11. For me to come here, well, my brother, he um, he lived here, and my parents decided to visit him, and well, we visited him, but my mother just didn't want to leave him, and he didn't want to go back to Bolivia, so we just decided to stay because of him, pretty much. Oh my god. um, well, overall, life was pretty good. Can't complain. My dad, he worked for a bank. He was a financial manager of the bank, and my mother worked for the government for the what would you call here the IRS, and it was pretty good. I mean, we were in pretty good schools. The school that me and my brother went to was called the American Institute. So I mean, it was pretty good. Life was pretty good if you want to talk economically. Politically, I guess I don't know. There wasn't much. My parents really weren't into the political field that much. Neither was my brother or I. So I don't know. I don't know what to say about that. I mean, I had good expectations. I mean, I was very happy to see my brother. Um, that was the main thing. I mean, I hadn't seen him since I was 8, so basically like 3 years. And I mean, that's when my expectations were good. My parents had told me that it was a really nice place and everything good. Everything was nice. And I mean, once I came here, I mean, I really liked it. It was really definitely a bigger country than Bolivia. They're very mobilized, and definitely more going on than over there. Over there, things are a little bit more slow paced, but I liked it. I liked it. Um, I mean, obviously, as anybody would, there's a period of adaptation that one has to go through. But um, I mean, for one, I was happy that I was gonna stay with my brother. But on the other hand, I was kind of disappointed that I was gonna leave my life behind over there, and I was gonna leave my friends, family, and so for that part, yeah, I can say I was a little bit upset. But to be honest, I wasn't really. I don't know, frustrated per se. But there was definitely a period of adaptation where I had to adapt to new things, new language, new people, new system. So in that regard, I think that was I can imagine for any kid a struggle, but you know. Actually, no. I was the only Bolivian in my middle school, and I was the only Bolivian in my high school. So there was not a lot of Bolivians. The only reason why we stay here well in Montgomery County was because my brother he was already living there. My uncle had lived there as well. So when we came visit, we were staying at my uncle's house, and I mean when we decided to stay, we just looked for somewhere near there. Um, like I said, I mean, it was definitely a period of adaptation where um, I would have rather been over there in Bolivia, but thankfully, I mean, I met I met some new friends pretty quick. Some of them, and it was pretty. It was pretty fast paced how I kind of got, without me even realizing it, how I got into the whole pace of this system. And it wasn't too long before I guess I got things figured out. And in that part, it wasn't that much of a struggle. Like, what I would say was definitely a thing that I had to obviously learn was the language. The language, obviously, which was ironic because I think I mentioned you before, back when I was in Bolivia. The school that I was at, it was an American school, which emphasized the English language a lot. If you did not get a passing grade in English, you could not pass to the next grade. And ever since I was over there, I never paid attention in English class. And I always used to think, oh, I don't need this class. I don't need English. I mean, what am I gonna need English for? And the day came when I had to stay here, and I really regretted not paying attention in those classes. So the language was definitely something that I had to pay attention to and get adapted to. But little by little, I started catching on, and now I'm here and talking to you in English. Actually didn't. I've never been. I can't complain about that. I've never been a victim of racism or discrimination. I think that has to do a lot with the fact that we live in a very, diverse and very, I think, open-minded county, as such. Montgomery County is, and I think we're very fortunate to live in a place where you can walk around and not be worried about that, because I do know that there's some other places, still, in the United States where it is a bit, that in terms of racism and discrimination, that it's still very present in the community. So, but I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I've never been a victim of that, and I don't think I ever will. I mean, obviously, I definitely think it's a very um, not a bad. I wouldn't describe it as a bad thing. I would just describe it as a unfortunate thing because of the ignorance that people carry in their minds, as because that's all it is. Discrimination is ignorance, and ignorance comes from not being informed and just having very restrictive thoughts in one's mind that um, you know kind of disables someone from progress and mentally. So um, definitely think that discrimination, racism, inequality, all those things are still very present, but nonetheless, there's people that have surpassed that notion, and some of the people that don't, that still live in that world. Um, if there's any advice I would give to I don't know, people who have been into the same adapting situation as I have, would definitely be to obviously um, I don't know, just tell them to um, be perseverant. Is obviously a frustrating process, being somewhere new, not only in a new country but anywhere. So I would just definitely say, to be patient, be persevering. Uh, Everything's gonna make sense one way or another, and sooner or later, you're gonna start to see the benefits that this country has, and also the benefits that you have, um, knowing that you come from somewhere else, and having the morals and the values that you have learned from wherever you're from, and applying that here, which would enhance everything you have learned so far. So I would just definitely say to patience, perseverance, and character, because that's something very important as well. My props.
Okay. Okay.